I use Fiendsmith to make Vanquish Soul more consistent, explosive, and more exciting than before. Today I'll show you my deck profile and a couple Fiendsmith combos that'll get you into the Vanquish Soul engine. Make sure to like and subscribe and comment down below. And with that, let's get into the profile. Starting with the main deck here, we have the heart and soul of the deck, Vanquish Soul Raisin. You would play more if you could. Konami, they won't let you. So we're playing consistency to make sure that we see him more. Because if you see him, you're winning. If you don't see him, you're losing. It's that simple. Next, we have 2 copies of Jiaolong. You don't need to play 3. You can play 3 because he's a fire, which is the best attribute in the deck. But you can brick on him too. And the first effect also comes up because against Tenpai, you can change their Chundra to defense position, which could win you the game on its own. Next, we have the bouncers in the deck. We have the 3 Borger, and then 2 Caesar. Borger is the better monster, so that's why you play 3 and then 2 Caesar, because you want to get the draws off the Borger. And then also, Dark is a better attribute in the deck. You want the ratios to be most fire, second most dark, and then third most earth. Usually that, I think it goes like 9, 8, 5 is the ratio that you want for these attributes here. You can brick on these, and I do quite often, but it's just nice being able to dodge the targeted negation. You could play 2 and 2, and I might try that out in the future, go back to that. I tried it before. I just keep going back between 3 and 2, and 2 and 2. This is where I am right now. And then we have the one-ofs in the deck. We have the 1 Pantera, and then 1 Mad Love. You could play 2 Mad Love, I play 1 Mad Love, and then 1 Pantera because she can come up and she's another searchable earth. Now for the spells and traps for Vanquish Soul. The 3 Stake Your Soul, which is the second best card in the deck next to Raisin. It's E-Telly for basically whatever Vanquish Soul you want in the deck. Unfortunately, it's not searchable off of Mad Love. Otherwise, you would play like 3 Mad Love, but you can't do that, so Stake Your Soul, great card. Next, 1 Snow Devil and 1 Continue. Snow Devil, if you resolve this for 3, you're basically winning the game because you have so many different forms of interaction, your other Vanquish Soul monsters. And then Continue if you want to extend further in your turn 1 play, or if you want some other forms of interaction on your opponent's turn, you can get there that way with Continue as well. And finally, Consistency to see Raisin. Moving on to the Kashtira cards, we have 3 Fenrir, 1 Riseheart, and 1 Raitsoth. This is standard. The Raitsoth is not too standard, not everybody plays that. It's great because you can search whatever attribute you want, which is good in Vanquish Soul. But also the attack buff comes up as well. It came up with a duel at locals yesterday where they swung into my Appo and to crash, and it had an extra boost, so their monster died, and then men phase 2, they couldn't really do anything, so I just won. So, Raitsoth, great card in the deck. And for the spice of the deck, we have the 3 Engraver, 1 Lurie, and 1 Tract. Fiendsmith, insane engine. Right now, if you can take advantage of it and you love Vanquish Soul, play it. It does so much. It can get you into engine, it can bring out Raisin from deck. There's another combo using Mad Love that you can go through. If you have Raisin in hand, you don't need to go through Raisin that way. It sets up Appo to make sure that you're insulated from Nib, which Vanquish Soul had a big problem with beforehand. You couldn't extend too far, otherwise you get nibbed and you just lose. So this is real spicy, and it makes this deck well worth playing. And moving on to non-engine, we have triple Ash Blossom, 1 Mag, 1 Druis, 1 Baldrake. They're darks. They're great in this format. Baldrake specifically is great in this format because you can activate its effect on field, which doesn't usually come up, but now that you play Fiendsmith cards, you can use it to banish their fusion, synchro, or whatever extra deck monster you that they just summoned. So this does replace Shifter. Shifter conflicts with the Fiendsmith cards. I do play it in the side just because it might be worth it, and I'll explain that later. But the 3 darks in Mag, Druis, and Baldrake, especially in this format, they go hard. And then 3 Imperm. The 3 imperm, it's imperm, great card. It doesn't have an attribute, but to be honest, it's too good not to play it. And then the 1 called by, because Droll's running around, and Droll kind of kills this deck, especially with adding the Fiendsmith cards. And moving on to the extra deck, we have 3 copies of Rock of the Vanquisher. I could just end it here, because it's pretty much all you need in a Vanquish Soul deck. Clearly, I'm going to put Fiendsmith cards in here. But yeah, Rock, he's goated. In the down arrow, since we're playing the Fiendsmith cards, we link more. The down arrow really does come up. Next, we have Princess plus Doolittle Chimera. You could play the Whale instead. I opt for the Doolittle because Doolittle will add back a fire engrave like an Ash Blossom or a Raisin or a Jiaolong. And you can get to the Princess going through the Fiendsmith cards with Beatrice, and I'll show that in the combo. And moving on to the Fiendsmith cards, 1 Requiem, 1 Sequence, 1 Moon, and 1 Lacrima. These are pretty standard cards in this deck. I don't play the Desiree. It's a little too tight with the text that I want to put in. There is flexibility in the extra deck though. So that's it for the Fiendsmith engine cards, but now what do you do with the Fiendsmith cards themselves? They get you bodies, what do you do with the bodies? We have the Beatrice, High King Caesar, Aerial Eater, and Cross Sheep. Cool stuff that you can do with these cards. With the Beatrice, you can dump the Raisin, and then Princess bring back the Raisin, get into Engine, and then make the Doolittle Chimera. And the Cross Sheep and Aerial Eater, that can end you on a 3-mana Apple plus a Rock, or a Continue in hand if you want to keep that Continue, by dumping the Mad Love from deck with the Aerial Eater, which I'll show in the combo portion. And then High King, he's just a really good rank 6. You can also play the Evil Czar Lars. He has a hot red effect. My opponent played on me yesterday at locals, and it really came up, and I lost the game because of it. So yeah, you could play that as well over the High King. And then finally, 2 generic cards here. We have SP and then Appaloosa. And moving into the side deck, first we have 3 copies of Shifter. Now I said earlier that it does conflict with the Engraver, but if you see one of those, you're probably going to win, depending on the matchup. Sometimes you don't want to see both in hand, but other matchups, if you open Engraver and Shifter going first, and you just Shifter them, don't Engraver them, fine. You can just Engraver on the Collat back, go through your regular Raisin into Borger, link off the Borger. You don't care if it gets banished sort of lines, which is completely fine. 2 copies of Cosmic as well as a Duster, just for stun and, matchups for that. Pretty standard. Next, 3 copies of Molcharmi Perulia. There's a reason people are playing this. There's a reason it's expensive. Play it if you can. Next, 3 copies of Droll and Lockbird. Good card in this format. You don't need to play this. You could play other cards instead, but Droll usually kills my opponents at locals, and this is what I brought to locals. Next, 2 copies of Phantasme. It's a dark, and it digs for Shifter as well as your Molcharmies. You could play the 3rd, but instead for the 3rd, I played there could be only 1, because it really works in this deck. Going first or second, going first, you can just full combo with your Fiendsmith cards, plus your other Vanquish Soul monsters, and it just solos them. Going second against Tempot, you can just set this and pass, and flip it, and they lose, pretty much. So yeah, that is it for the side deck, and let's go into the combo portion of the video. I'm going to show y'all 2 different 1-card combos. One of those will get you in a Raisin, and the other one will get you into the Vanquish Soul engine in a different way. But for combo number 1, let's get y'all into Raisin. We have Engraver in hand. Let's activate that Engraver. We're going to add Tract, activate that Tract, add Lurie, discard Lurie, special Lurie. Link off that Lurie for a Requiem. Activate Requiem effect. Special summon Engraver. Now we're going to summon the other Engraver by shuffling back this Lurie. Gonna link these 2 off for a sequence. Sequence effect will shuffle back the Requiem plus Engraver. We're gonna special summon Lacrima. Lacrima will bring back this Engraver. Let's overlay that for Beatrice. And then Beatrice, detach the engraver to dump the raisin. Now, go off into Princess, and then we're going to activate this Lacrima effect engrave, shuffling back the sequence to burn for 1200 because we can. And then Princess effect, we're going to special summon this raisin from grave. So now we have access to the Vanquish Soul engine. So we'll activate the raisin, and now we can add anything you want. Here I'll just add a Jiaolong. And we're locked into fires from Promethean Princess, but that's okay because we can still special this Jiaolong. So we'll activate the effect of raisin, reveal the Jiaolong, and then that will proc the effect of Jiaolong to special. So let's go ahead and special them there. And then we'll link off the raisin plus the Promethean for a Doolittle Chimera. So now we have the Jiaolong, Doolittle Chimera, so we can go Promethean Princess, pop the Doolittle on your opponent's turn to pop theirs, and then you can also say you wanted to like link this Jiaolong off for a Rock of the Vanquisher, then you can do so, and then you can special summon the Rock of the Vanquisher on your opponent's turn by adding back the raisin from the Doolittle Chimera that you popped. So yeah, that's combo number 1. Alright, combo number 2. This combos, if you already have access to raisin, you don't want to go into Princess, this way you want to get access to different parts of your engine. You want to get your Vanquish Soul SpellsTraps, you can get a rock on board, plus a 3 material Appaloosa. So do this before you want to commit in a nib, for example. So first we'll activate this engraver. We will add a tract, activate that tract, add Lurie, discard Lurie, special Lurie. Link off the Lurie for Requiem, activate Requiem, special summon the engraver. Alright, now we're going to special summon the other engraver engraved by shuffling back this Lurie. And we need another light engrave, so let's activate Tract to fuse these two off for a Lacrima. Lacrima will summon this engraver. And now we will link off for sequence. Do not activate the effect of Lacrima. Now we're going to activate the effect of sequence, shuffling back the Requiem plus the Lacrima in order to summon out an Aerial Eater. This Aerial Eater is going to dump Mad Love because she's a fiend. So let's go ahead and dump her. And now we're going to link off for Cross Sheep, activate the effect of Aerial Eater, banishing 2 engravers in order to special summon itself out, which Cross Sheep will now activate, and then you'll special summon Mad Love. Mad Love will either add you Continue or the Trap, depending on which one you want. But here, we can link off for a 3 material Appaloosa, and if you want to rock on board, you could activate Continue here, special out the Mad Love, and then you can link off the Mad Love for a rock. So all without your normal, just with 1 engraver, it gets you into rock plus a 3 material Appaloosa. And you have a dark engrave that you can recur with rock if you want to. That's my Fiendsmith Vanquish Soul deck profile. If you have any questions, feel free to comment down below, and make sure to like and subscribe. See ya.